What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you another video. So, today we're going to be going into some game developers. We're not going to be going into the core companies, such as, ones like Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo today, but the next video will be going into it. But for today, we're going into some of the third-party and major developers, such as companies like Ubisoft, Square Enix, and EA. So I'm going to go into EA first because personally, EA was the one company for me that was the weakest. I'm going to tell you that right now because that's honestly true. Personally, if you know EA is known typically for their sports games. They do have other games other than sports, but the majority of their content is a lot of sports and a lot of content that really is not necessarily all that. Personally, if you're a sports fan and maybe you like, the major, games like, I don't know, NHL, 2K16 or something like that, or all these different sports games, like the major ones that everyone always sees every single year for the different sports teams to have all the different members or whatever. I don't really care for those personally. Personally for me, I'm not a big sports guy, and that's just my opinion. What I did like about EA though, which was one thing that I think a lot of people can agree with me on, and it's one of the biggest highlights that EA had, was Battlefront. Battlefront is a great looking game. I think that Battlefront was their highlight. Like, if it weren't for that game, I wouldn't even count it. I wouldn't even count EA. Battlefront looks really good. The whole entire changing between characters and doing all these different moments in time or whatever, like seeing, okay, at first you're gonna have this Call of Duty aspect with the shooter aspect, and then you go into, maybe you're gonna be in a TIE fighter, and then you're gonna go into and remember, this is Star Wars Battlefront, and then you're gonna go into, say, one of the typical ships from Star Wars, and then you might become Luke or something like that. I mean, and you will fight Darth Vader, and supposedly there's supposed to be connections between this game and say the movie that's coming out. Not major connections apparently, but ones that are definitely, if you know Battlefront, there will be things here and there that are meant to connect to the 7th movie that's coming out, which is Force Awakens. So that should be good, and Force Awakens is definitely a movie that I'm really looking forward to seeing. So that was a huge highlight. The thing was that that's actually how EA ended it, which is smart really, because that was the one part that personally for me I was actually excited about. Does that mean I'm gonna get it? Not necessarily, but I think it's a cool game. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, well, if that's the company that you right away think it's the worst, what could be, what's next? So I'm gonna go into now. I'm gonna talk about another company. This is a company I don't think that did bad, but there was really one game specifically that I focused on, that I saw, that I was like, oh my god, they did this. And I think a lot of people can predict this when I say it, but it's a fact. I was beyond excited for Square Enix when it came to their announcement for their next trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3. Personally, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Love the series. I think that the concept is great. I think that a lot of the characters are a lot of fun. I like the combination of Final Fantasy mixed with Disney. I think it's a great concept. I think that it definitely has something for the edgier players and for the youths, and it keeps a wider audience available rather than limiting themselves, because not everyone's interested in these fighting RPG based games. At the same time, not everyone's interested in Disney. But the thing is that Disney is a major company, and the whole entire concept between why these things happened was that Disney was super popular, and Final Fantasy early on, especially with Final Fantasy 7 and that kind of stuff, super popular. So doing this doesn't really hurt you, having Kingdom Hearts exist and have that come together and be one. and it's a great concept. Sure, some people look at it and say, oh, it looks so childish, but at the same time, if you're a Disney fan, or if you're even a Final Fantasy fan, or if you like both, this is great. Or if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, well, then I would hope you would like it. I mean, that's how Kingdom Hearts is, and it's something that a lot of people, you either really like it or you just don't know what it is, and you just think like, oh, that looks like a kiddie game or something, like a little kid game, and it's not. There's a big audience. The story is really long. It's definitely something that like a little kid wouldn't necessarily know every detail and wouldn't necessarily be able to follow as much. In fact, in a lot of ways, if you're an older person, if you're like a teenager or an adult, you will actually register with it a lot more rather than, say, a little kid, which is interesting because you would think, oh, it has all these Disney characters, so why would an adult ever want to play this? Oddly enough, that's really not true. And I know I'm like defending Kingdom Hearts, and I know that that's not really the main topic of my discussion here. But with Kingdom Hearts, what they showed off was Sora was gonna have like a new outfit as well as the outfit that he had previously in Kingdom Hearts 2, which we already knew about from the previous trailer 2 years ago, I believe it was, and but this trailer showed off that. It showed off one of his summons. I'm forgetting now which summon it was at this moment, but it's definitely from one of the Disney movies. I'm just right now forgetting it. I have my phone on me. I might just double check it, but I don't remember at this moment what it was. It doesn't matter. It was exciting. Also, the enemy designs look great. The game looks gorgeous. Graphically, it looks great. Unreal Engine, I believe it's 4, looks beautiful. The gameplay is excellent. It looks really smooth. They brought up the Keyblade Masters, referencing characters like Ventus, Aqua, and Terra. So, and that was when we got to see young Xehanort and I believe it was, I want to say, oh, I'm forgetting his name right now. Young Ericus. That's right. So interesting concept there, kind of showing a prequel to even their past, which is really interesting, having young Xehanort and young Ericus. For those that don't know, both characters from Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Great concept there. Interesting, something that we really haven't seen. And they really try to always reference key points of history within the franchise. And that's why Birth by Sleep exists, because it was meant to reference the past and what things we might have not known prior to Kingdom Hearts. So interesting overall. But we also got some great gameplay. We got to see some different scenes with, like, you know, Sora, Donald, and Goofy working together and doing some cool attacks. We got to see that they still represent their characters pretty well in the game. They don't have like unusual weapons in regard to Donald and Goofy. Sora has a special gun weapon. It looks like a special attack. I forget what you would call that. I guess it would be a special attack. We also got to see a secondary Keyblade at one point. Not him using two Keyblades at once, but a different Keyblade than the one that everyone knows him to use. And also some special attacks. We also got to see like a gun-like weapon, which was interesting. And some other really cool attacks. And just a whole bunch of different environments. We got to see Twilight Town again, which was cool to see. And that was really exciting. I know I'm talking so much about Kingdom Hearts just because it was that was really cool. But anyway, let's go on to our third company, which is going to be probably our last one for today. That is going to be Ubisoft. So Ubisoft did a lot of things that I was very impressed with. I have my phone for that reason, because Ubisoft was the company out of those three. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3, big deal. And there were other things that Square Enix did that I liked. That was my biggest highlight for Square Enix. But Ubisoft had a lot of things that I was just like, nice, awesome, great, cool. And I want to mention this also. You may be thinking, why did I highlight Kingdom Hearts 3 so much? Well, personally, the reason why I mentioned this in the past on my channel is that I personally don't own a PS4. And I would love to get a PS4, but at the same time, I'm not, like, I don't, like, need it, like, today. And the thing is that one of the games that, if it came out, I would then get a PS4 no matter what, would be Kingdom Hearts 3. That game is like part of the reason why I haven't gotten a PS3. I mean PS4 or PS3 technically. I don't have a PS3. I have a PS2. I never got a PS3. I wish I did. I just never did. And personally, I'm not jumping out of my seat to go and say, "Oh, I want to go buy one right now." Like, I'm not gonna do that because I don't have anything that I'm necessarily like desiring at this moment. When Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, I'm sure I will probably look into it and more than likely buy it. I'm sorry, I'm just checking something right now. Okay. So, I just wanted to mention that now just so that people understand why I mention it so much, because that's just my opinion, and I'm just like, it excites me, and it's something that's really exciting. And if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, then I'm sure that you're thinking the same way about like how great it was to finally see another trailer. I know I'm looking down, that's because I'm looking at my phone, so I wanted to find the list here. So there was a number of different games that were announced that were interesting for Ubisoft. One of them was the South Park game, so the creators of South Park are releasing another game, which is interesting. Last time it was the Stick of Truth, which was a pretty popular game, and it did very well, obviously, because that's the reason why they came back, because originally they weren't going to do it. They originally said they were never going to do it again. They were never going to make a video game again, but then they realized, wait, we actually did this really well this time, so actually we might want to make a game, and I'm sure it's going to do well. I'm sure it's going to do very well. Hopefully better than the previous one, because you always want to do better than you did prior to your previous attempt at a game. So that should be cool. Personally, I do not own Stick of Truth, but I've definitely seen gameplay of it. I think it's a very cool looking game, interesting concept. Definitely borrows a lot of ideas of RPG gameplay, and if you're a South Park fan, then you'll love it. Personally, I'm not a huge South Park fan, but I definitely have watched an episode here or there every once in a while. I don't watch it that often ever, but it's definitely it's definitely an interesting show. It's one that you definitely want to be older to watch and understand, and one that I'm sure most parents will say no to. So, anyway, that's just one game. Another game that was announced as a big deal was For Honor. I thought For Honor was great looking. Having 3 different eras, Barbarian, Samurai, and Knight. Super cool concept. Having different fighting stances, being able to use like the control sticks to actually maneuver in a way so that you can do these fighting stances and then go in for like an attack or whatever, and being able to fight with different with like, you'll be a samurai and you'll be fighting a knight, or you'll be a barbarian and you'll be fighting a knight or a samurai, and you're able to do these different fighting stances, and just seeing how beautiful the gameplay looks and how the different styles of art were. And I'm just very curious about the gameplay. I'm very curious about if there's gonna be a story at all, and if there is, how will that work out and how will things work out. But yeah, so that was a really, really cool game. I thought that this idea is excellent, and I personally just love it. Apparently, actually, now that I'm reading this, it says that not only is it going to be samurais, ninjas, and actually Vikings, it's also so it's going to be ninjas. I said samurais. It's also going to be ninjas. It's going to be pirates as well, which is interesting because they didn't even show pirates, and Spartans. So Spartans, samurais, ninjas, pirates, and Vikings, and knights. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, they didn't show ninjas, pirates, or Spartans, but they definitely showed samurais, Vikings, and knights. Very cool, though. Yeah, I'm reading that right now. Interesting. I'm curious about how the ninjas and the pirates look, especially and also the Spartans. Oh my god! And if they do like historically accurate characters or whatever, like Achilles and those kind of people, like that'd be very cool. or having like Blackbeard for the pirates, or having, you know, some really famous ninjas or some really famous samurai. I mean, that'd be really awesome. I'm trying to think what else there was. The Trials of Fusion trailer was kind of cool. I can't say much about it. I don't really know it that well. The Tom Clancy looks Division looks great. I thought that looked really beautiful. Great gameplay. Interesting concept of how you can either defend the city or you can attack it, and you can work with your friends, or you could kill your friends and take all the stuff that they have. Interesting overall. Just Dance 2016 is happening. Not a huge fan of that series, but cool regardless. Rainbow Six Siege, really cool. They got to have like the voice actress of Six herself show up, which was very cool. She's done a lot of stuff. Very, very cool. The gameplay there was excellent. A lot of interesting story, a lot of great co-op play that you could do there with like four-man teams, and having that all in regular gameplay, and having that in like campaign based rather than having it some other way, which I think is excellent, because when games have that kind of aspect where it's like there's a story going on, but you can have your friends and you're doing it all at once, and you could have more than 2 friends doing it. That's cool. That's like really cool, and it's all part of the story. Like, that's actually really awesome, and it really adds a lot of depth to the game, and it really makes it like, ooh, I actually want to play this, because it's like, and then there's a lot of weapons that were interesting. Like, there's like a tracking mine, and there's like a security camera that can crawl around the ground and all that, and you get to monitor. And there's a big emphasis on that kind of stuff. Really interesting, really interesting. What else was there? Trackmania, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, right? Big deal. I personally was a huge fan of Syndicate. I thought that Syndicate looked really cool. I didn't expect Syndicate to be what was coming out. Apparently, it's the first modern Assassin's Creed, which makes complete sense, because when I was watching the trailer, I noticed immediately it said 1868, and I was like, what time period is that? Oh, so that's like right around the time of, I would say, like right around the time of the Civil War, like right before the Civil War. And I guess it's supposed to be like around the time of the Industrial Revolution. And I immediately thought Industrial Revolution, and then it was spoken later that apparently, yes, it was meant to take place in the Industrial Revolution. They specifically said Industrial Revolution. I was like, oh my god, awesome. I guess right. And there was a special grappling hook weapon that the main character gets to use, which was really cool. And the main character is Jacob. He also has a twin sister, which is interesting. Her name is Evie, or Eve. I guess actually Eve. Yeah, Eve. And they're both playable. So a female assassin is available in this game. Technically, there's supposed to be another female assassin prior to this. That was supposed to be in the Chinese game that was supposed to be coming out sometime soon. I don't know if they postponed it or if they got rid of it or not. I haven't really heard much about it in a while, so who knows. But really cool gameplay. It looked really nice. All I can say is that I hope it's better than Unity. As many people know, Unity really did not do very well. If you know Assassin's Creed at all, you know that it really was buggy. They really worked on this really fast, because Assassin's Creed games have been coming out like every year recently. It used to not be like that at all. It used to be like every couple years, but now, since the series has been doing so well, they've been trying to put more and more games out at a much faster rate, which is good but bad at the same time, because it's like if you don't go fully into development, you can ruin yourself. So hopefully they take the time to really work on this game and really nurture it properly, because it'd be great. And also, if anyone's curious, it's supposed to take place in London, which is, a nice area in Europe. So interesting. So it's not. So we're definitely going away from, say, from some of our other locations we've been to, but interesting overall. Then there was Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildland, which was a major trailer, really cool, beautiful backgrounds, the whole entire intro of like the bloody skulls and all that, and the money being covered in blood and all that. Really interesting. Seeing the skydiving moment, seeing white hat and all that. Really, really cool. I thought that game looked beautiful as well. Different kind of gameplay, different from the other Tom Clancy games. Definitely. I mean, each of these Tom Clancy games that were spoken about, Division, Siege, what was it again? I'm like completely blanking. Rainbow Six Siege, and Wildlands. Each of these games is very different, but each of them really, really cool. I thought that these games were really, really awesome. I know I'm moving over so much. But overall, I thought that these three companies overall were really cool. I thought that these companies were really exciting. I thought that they were a lot of fun to watch. You may be wondering, am I going to even show PC games? No, I'm actually not going to show PC games at all for this. So if anyone's thinking, oh, you're going to show PC games, I'm sorry, but that's the one area where I really just didn't watch at all. I watched all the other ones to different extent, like all the other ones to a good extent, but PC games I kind of just skipped over. Personally, for me, I'm not a huge PC gamer, but I definitely have a couple of games that I play every once in a while. I'm not like one of those diehard like, oh my god, I gotta play those PC games. Like, I'm more of a console gamer, and I think that if you're looking for that, you may want to try somewhere else. E3 definitely covers that, but it's not something that is the biggest highlight usually. It's something usually it definitely highlights upon it, but it's not the main topic. It's usually console gaming, and that's one of the most important things to remember, is that there's definitely PC gaming, but it's not the highlight typically. It's usually something that, oh, if you're looking for something extra, or if you're a PC gamer, yeah, you might like this, but it's not everyone's first interest, and not everyone's going to be jumping out of their seat to go and see that. So anyway, guys, that's about it. I know this was a little bit longer. It's because I also put in like 3 different companies, so I just wanted to do that just because of the fact that I didn't have much to say about EA other than Battlefront. I didn't really want to talk too much about Square Enix other than Kingdom Hearts 3, and I had a lot more to talk about Ubisoft, because Ubisoft had a lot of really cool games that were coming out that I was just like, Ubisoft, what's wrong with you? You're doing too many good things. Like, Ubisoft, calm down. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I thought that this video was a lot of fun to do. I think that Ubisoft and all these companies did really well in their own regard. Sure, I didn't like every single one of them to the same extent, but I think that overall it was a lot of fun to watch each of these companies to, have their showcase moments and really shine in their own ways. And personally, I just thought it was a whole lot of fun. So anyway, guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and check out all the other videos on this channel. Also answer the question time at the bottom, which will be a question related to E3, obviously, probably related to these companies. Overall, I hope you guys enjoy. So anyway, guys, that's about it from me. And remember to do all the other stuff that I've already said. And goodbye.